Some stories about characters in small towns start out as factual accounts of actual events, told because they are funny and reflect well known traits of the character. Many of these grow with each retelling, refined into mythical proportions, with only a grain of the original truth remaining. Others need no embellishing. I call these whole grain stories. I don't know for sure which category this one falls into. It could be whole grain because folks who knew Urban Hughes would have had no reason to question the content, but it's one of those classic stories that are told about Urban. Bill Ryan, who ran the Standard Oil gas station in Wickliffe, had a Chesapeake Bay retriever named Ike. Ike was a well-known resident of Wickliffe. He hung around the gas station with the rest of the hangers-on. Every once in a while, Bill would send Ike down to the post office, and Ike would go and get the mail and maybe pick up the Carroll Evening Citizen newspaper and bring those back to Bill. Also, Ike was about as good a duck retriever as you'll ever find. But eventually the day came when Ike died. Urban Hughes, who ran the store that his father had run for many years, was one of Ike's good friends in Wickliffe. When Ike died, Urban decided to run a tribute in the local newspaper, the Advance Yeoman. The tribute was printed with a properly somber black border, as befits an in memoriam tribute to a good friend. Tom Ryan, who was one of Bill Ryan's sons, gave me a copy of that ad. And here's how it read. In memoriam, he cared little for worldly possessions. He cared less for power or prestige. He was devoted to all who deserved his devotion, especially those who were nearest and dearest to him. He disliked only one or two who had abused him, and he never forgot their abuse and never forgave. He never spoke ill of anything or anybody. He had good habits and set an example in decorum. He only wanted to do one thing with his life, and that was to serve, and he did it well. So long, Ike. You will be missed. And that was signed a friend. Meanwhile, a human resident of Wickliffe died at about the same time as the dog died. The human's name was Isaac, but he was called Ike. Isaac's survivors saw the tribute in the newspaper, and since no last name was given, and I'm not sure that Ike, the Chesapeake Bay Retriever, had a last name, the survivors assumed it was written for their dearly departed. According to the stories it's told, and I can't vouch for the truth other than to acknowledge that it is consistent with other stories, they decided to take up a collection for their dearly departed Ike, the non-dog. Oh, Mr. Hughes, they supposedly said, we saw your tribute to our beloved Ike in the paper. We didn't know you felt that way about our dear Ike. But after reading your words, we decided to come to the store because we're sure you want to make a donation to Ike's memory. Well, unfortunately for them, Ike the human had written a bad check to Urban sometime earlier and had never made good on it. Urban didn't have much reason to admire that particular Ike, but he didn't have the heart to go into a rant about it. Urban excused himself, went to a cigar box he kept near the cash register, searched through it until he found the bad check from Ike, he of the 2 legs instead of 4. He brought that check to the front of the store, dropped it into the collection container the people had, and told him, "Here, take this as my donation."